This is Team Fortress 2 in Source 2, and it's insane. And yes, you can rocket jump. It's a game mode in S&box. If you don't know, S&box is basically Gary's Mod 2, but instead of add-ons and game modes, you're basically making entire separate games. It's basically the full Source 2 engine that Valve promised us in 2015. They're using this to remake TF2. From my understanding, it's not just a direct remake. They're going to be updating and iterating on it. Team Fortress Source 2 is actually a placeholder name. It's probably going to be called something different when it's finished. They've been working on this for at least 4 months now, before people even had access to S&box. They were porting maps and models to Source 2 using the Half-Life Alyx tools. They've made so much progress since then, they've actually set up a proper website and released an official-looking dev blog a couple days ago. They've ported a ton of assets into Source 2. Here's the scattergun and the sticky bomb launcher. They look so detailed in Source 2. These almost look like they could be Source Filmmaker renders, but I'm pretty sure it's just a screenshot from the model editor. They ported particles and skyboxes too. The first big map port they've been doing is King of the Hill Well. Now, porting Source 1 maps to Source 2 is technically possible, but I don't recommend it. The new editor can actually open Source 1 maps by default, but they're really bad. Ported maps are extremely unoptimized, and they can have a lot of issues with lighting and entities. It took them a long time to get the map good, and it was actually easier to completely remake some things, like the ground and most of this middle building. The result is really good though. As you can see, they actually recommend making entirely new maps instead of porting old broken maps. Speaking of new maps, they made a new map. It's a Spytech art style showcase demo. It's actually finished and in S&box right now. I'm going to take a look at it later in the video. They recreated the heads-up display. Originally, they were just copying the TF2 HUD one-to-one, but they're working on updating it and making it its own thing. Here's the new HUD. It's a very early prototype. As you can see in the top left, it's version 0.0.8. It's subject to change. The final HUD might not look anything like this. Personally, I really like it. Now for the gameplay. Right now they have basic weapons and classes done for the Soldier, Pyro, Scout, Demoman, and Sniper. Here we can see the Soldier. It looks basically the same as TF2. As I mentioned earlier, you can actually rocket jump. I tried this really early on, and it was almost exactly the same as TF2. I would know because I was a Soldier main, and I made rocket jump maps. It isn't 100% perfect though, and they're going to be improving it later. Here we can see the flamethrower. It looks really nice, especially with the dynamic lighting on the fire. Here's the Scout. There's nothing too impressive with his weapons, they just fire regular bullets. The Demoman's bombs are looking pretty good. Here we can see the 2 different types, the pipe bomb and the sticky bomb. And also, yes, the bottle can break. The final class is the Sniper. He doesn't have anything too special other than his sniper rifle with the scope. They even added the charging feature. If you're a developer, the next part is going to be very exciting. Instead of hard-coding each class and weapon, there's actually editors for them. It looks like they're going to make this open source, so you'll probably be able to make your own versions of this, and it doesn't even have to be TF2 themed. You could just use this as a base for your own class shooter game mode. In the editor, you can define a bunch of settings like the player model, health, speed, weapons, and probably more in the future. They're using the same system for the weapons too, meaning it'll be extremely easy to add custom weapons and even characters in the future. This is such a good idea. I'm probably going to do this for my own game modes, like my Left 4 Dead mode. I asked the devs, and this game mode is not playable yet. They're just making the very basics right now. We can look at the Spytech art map though. I'm going to do a quick unscripted tour of the map. So here I am in the Spytech demo map. I'm actually going to check it out in VR, since I've been working on programming a VR mode for S&box. I have most of the basics done on the VR player. This map looks pretty detailed. It's very nice. We can see all of the Team Fortress 2 assets imported. There's a health station. I'm pretty sure this doesn't actually do anything. Definitely doesn't do anything in VR. And also, the Team Fortress 2 characters are pretty big. So this speaker is pretty high up for me, but I think in Team Fortress 2, this is the right height. I can look around, we can see the different props on the bench here. I think this is the highest texture resolution quality. I remember seeing a video or an essay somewhere about how only Source Filmmaker can have textures this high quality, but here we have it in Source 2. This exit door doesn't have a lot of detail. It's just a wall.
I can walk around, look at all the chairs, the coffee machine. This is insane. It's like I'm actually in Team Fortress 2, but the new Source 2 Team Fortress 2. It's real. Ooh, they have animations on the radar here? That's pretty cool. I wonder if that was in TF2. It probably was. But it's really cool to see it, especially in VR. Those plugs are massive. Wow. So the S&box character has gigantic hands, and those are bigger than his hands. So that's got to be a half-foot long plug. That's pretty wild. I believe these are physics props, so I can't shoot them, and they'll fly around. I don't have my weapon set up properly yet, so it just fires one bullet every game frame, but it works for now. I feel immersed. This is quite the experience. I wonder if somebody will make a VR version of this. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun. It'd be pretty hard, and you definitely wouldn't be able to catch up with all the non-VR players and their fast-paced gameplay. Anyways, back to the video.
Now you might be thinking, this is very ambitious. Will it even get finished, or is this just a scam? Personally, I've seen so many projects like this, and they almost all flop. There were so many people trying to remake Half-Life 2 and Half-Life Alyx, and I think they're all gone now. Most of them didn't even take off. I really hope this does get finished. I think it'll be a lot of fun to play and to make custom maps for. I made a few maps for TF2, mostly maps for trade servers and rocket jumping maps. I think it'll be so much fun to make a Team Fortress 2 map in Source 2. Team Fortress Source 2 is being made by the same people who made Creators.tf. If you don't know what that is, it's a custom Team Fortress 2 experience. There's custom weapons, a custom contractor with a lot of contracts, and I guess there's a campaign too. I haven't played it personally. I haven't really played TF2 at all this year, but they have over 10,000 players every month, so it seems pretty successful. I think this Team Fortress Source 2 mode will be a real thing that you'll actually be able to play in S&box. If you want to see more about this game mode, you can check out their Twitter page and their new website. It'll be linked in the description. I'm going to start a series where I look at and showcase S&box game modes. This is actually part 2 of the series. I made a dedicated video on Speed Dial. If you don't know what that is, it's a top-down, Hotline Miami-inspired game mode made by Eagle One. Most of the game modes aren't big enough to make a whole video on them, so I'll probably clump a bunch of them together. For example, there are 15 clones of the S&box mode and 21 Dark RP clones. Let me know which game modes you'd like to see. I know a lot of people have been wanting to see Instagib, so I'll probably show that off soon. That's it. Like and subscribe. I'm actually making my own S&box game mode. It's like Left 4 Dead. You should check it out here, or watch this other video instead.